Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is November, I believe it's the 23rd. It is, Monday, November 23rd, the year's 2020. Day 6 of the lockdown called for by Governor Brown, Governor of Oregon. There's an article out there, how Oregon's governor became the latest poster child for COVID-19 tyranny. I don't know if you're familiar with the book 1984 by George Orwell or not. But in that book, it's a novel, and you can look at my other videos. I kind of tell a funny story about the book there in my real life experience. But in the book, it talks about how neighbors are, basically ratting out neighbors, reporting neighbors to the authorities. And Governor Brown has asked that neighbors report violators of our lockdown. We're not supposed to have gatherings of more than 6 people, of which comprise no more than 2 households at our homes. This violates the First Amendment of the Constitution. Now, it's very interesting how our elected officials put laws on us, but then they do otherwise. I think it was Gavin Newsom, governor of California, told everybody to stay home and not travel, and then he takes off to a junket in Hawaii. And things just may get a little real. There's some citizens who about headed up to here with the governor in this state, and they're possibly going to do something that isn't going to be well received, let's put it that way. But then again, some things that are necessary and called for aren't well received. But the mere fact that she's asking neighbors to rat out neighbors just shows you how far these elected officials will go. On the one hand, they let criminals out of jail because of we didn't want them getting COVID-19. But, people who are exercising their First Amendment rights are going to be possibly locked up and or fined. Businesses will lose licenses. They're very draconian in how they implement things. The local speedway here had an event, and they decided that they weren't conforming with the governor's unconstitutional decrees, so they took away their liquor license. There's businesses that have been shut down and or fined. I'm not sure what the governor and these other elected officials really expect people to do. They have to work to pay the bills. The grace period for not paying rent ends at the end of the year. I know landlords are hurting. I'm so glad I don't have any more rental real estate right now. You have no idea. I'm glad I sold out. Sold out before the bubble hit. Back in, 2008 I think it was. But this would just be devastating. To have thousands of dollars a month that you're not collecting in rent, and you're going to have to pay that mortgage, or you're going to get foreclosed on. Devastating effects to the economy. But, this article outlines, some of the things that this governor has done beyond what I've told you, and how they are actively, there are going to be some organizations and individuals who will be taking this to court, maybe all the way to the Supreme Court. And there's just one thing you need to understand. If it's a right, it can't be taken away. If it's a privilege, it can be. Now, the thing about rights is they're all conceptual in nature. They're all in your head. I've done a few videos on this, but I'll just touch on it for the new people. You basically only have 3 rights. You have the right to breathe, because once you're born, it's really hard to not breathe. It's just natural. It's a natural right. You have the right to breathe. Who can stop you from breathing? You know, what gives them any right to stop you from breathing? You have the right to eliminate. If it goes in one end, it's coming out the other. That's just nature. You can't not have that happen. If you eat or drink, some of that's coming out the other end. You're like a tube. It's so. And your third natural right is you can do whatever you need to do to keep from getting eaten or killed by any other creature, whether it's no-legged, two-legged, four-legged, more than four-legged creature that's on this planet. You know, if you want to see your rights, swim out in the ocean, and you'll find out what your real rights are. You know, you can pop your head above water to breathe anytime you want. You can eliminate anytime you want. And if some man-eating shark or other sea creature wants to come eat you, you can do whatever the hell you need to do to keep from getting eaten. You can shoot it, you can stab it, you can punch it, you can run away from it. And those are your natural rights. So this idea that you have a right to do this or do that because a bunch of guys sat around a table and scribbled on a piece of paper saying these are your rights, it's all conceptual in nature. They made it up. You have to understand that. They made it up. Am I wrong? So once you understand that they made it up, and then other people can say, oh no, we'll just forget what they said. That was hundreds of years ago. You know, a lot of people just want to push that. You know, that Second Amendment, you know, that doesn't mean what it says. It means what we say it means. Once again, 1984, George Orwell, 2 + 2 = 5. 2 + 2 = 3. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 equals whatever we tell you it equals. You know, fake news media. Vaccine's effective. Vaccine causes this. Do you really want to take a vaccine that's been rushed through? They're not putting it in me, not without a fight, I'll tell you that right now. You know, I'm not necessarily an anti-vaxxer, but no. 100 million other people can test it, and let's see what happens, you know, 5 or 10 years down the road. But no, I'm no human guinea pig, I'll tell you that right now. And a lot of people feel the same way. And they'll do things probably, I might not be able to travel, I might not be able to do this or that. But you can see it coming, 1984. Now, in some other videos, I'm going to touch on the Matrix. I'm going to touch on Idiocracy. I think I may have already talked about that one. And I'm going to touch on one you probably haven't heard of called ghetto physics. So in the upcoming days, I will be touching on it. But, you know, the bottom line is, you know, are you going to put up with this, and to what extent? And then what are you going to do? Another thing I will be touching on is there are a lot of militias that are forming and arming and preparing because they don't believe the election was conducted fairly. We're living in history. This year, what's going on now is going to be in the history books. You can bet on it. And what we do individually, what we do as small groups or larger groups, it's all going to be in the history books. So you just have to decide, you know, where you're going to be in history. You know, were you willing to fight, or did you roll over? Did you stand by and watch it happen? Or did you have your head in the sand and not even realize anything was happening at all? Interesting times we're living through, fellow preppers. Interesting times. So let me just end this video like I do all videos. If you fail to prepare, then you are preparing to fail.